I found the photograph at 2:17 in the morning while sorting through boxes in my grandmother's attic. And if I had gone to bed 10 minutes earlier, I probably would have lived the rest of my life believing my family was completely ordinary. The photograph showed 6 people standing beneath an enormous oak tree sometime in the 1940s. My great-grandparents stood in the center. Their children surrounded them. Everyone faced the camera, everyone except one person. A young boy stood partially hidden behind the tree trunk, peeking around the bark. What made my stomach tighten wasn't the fact that he was there. It was the fact that nobody had ever mentioned him before. I knew every branch of our family tree. I had spent years researching genealogy as a hobby. I knew names, birthdays, marriages, and old family stories. Yet I had never seen that boy. When I turned the photograph over, I found a handwritten note in faded ink. It contained only 4 words. Do not include him. At first, I assumed it was a mistake. Maybe he was a neighbor, a friend, someone unrelated to the family. But the longer I stared at the image, the stranger it became. Every member of my family seemed aware of the camera except him. He wasn't looking toward the photographer. He was looking directly at the person standing beside the camera. Whoever that was appeared to hold his complete attention. His expression wasn't angry or frightened. It looked patient, as though he was waiting for instructions. I should have put the photograph back into the box and forgotten about it. Instead, I spent the rest of the night searching through every container in the attic. By sunrise, I had found 4 more photographs containing the same boy. In each image, he appeared farther from the family. In one, he stood at the edge of a field. In another, he appeared near a barn. In the last picture, he was visible only as a shape reflected in a window behind everyone else. The same boy, the same clothes, the same expression. Yet none of the photographs identified him. The family members were named carefully on the back of every image. My great-grandfather, my grandmother, her sisters, cousins, uncles, everyone except the boy. It felt deliberate. By breakfast, I convinced myself there was a simple explanation. Families lose records. People forget details. Genealogy is full of mysteries. But when I showed the photographs to my grandmother later that afternoon, her reaction destroyed every rational explanation I had prepared. She didn't look confused. She looked afraid. Not dramatically afraid. The quiet kind. The kind people experience when they unexpectedly see something they hoped never to encounter again. She stared at the first photograph for nearly 30 seconds before carefully placing it face down on the table. Then she asked where I'd found it. I told her. She nodded once. Then she stood up and left the room without another word. I followed her into the kitchen. Who is he? I asked. She didn't answer immediately. Instead, she filled a glass with water and stood silently by the sink. Finally, she spoke. Some stories don't belong in family records. I laughed nervously. That's not really an answer. She looked at me. I know. Then she changed the subject. That conversation should have ended my curiosity. Instead, it multiplied it. Over the next week, I called relatives, great aunts, distant cousins, anyone old enough to remember older family stories. The responses followed a strange pattern. Most claimed not to recognize the boy. A few ended conversations unusually quickly. One elderly cousin became visibly upset when I mentioned the photographs. He immediately asked whether I had found them in the attic. When I said yes, he went silent. Then he said something strange. How many pictures is he in now? The word now caught my attention immediately. Before I could ask what he meant, he ended the call. That night, I spread the photographs across my dining room table and examined them again. Something felt different. At first, I couldn't identify what had changed. Then I realized that the boy appeared slightly closer in one of the images than I remembered. The difference was subtle, maybe a few feet. Rationally, I knew photographs don't change. Yet I couldn't shake the feeling. To test myself, I scanned every picture into my computer and created digital copies. Then I stored the originals in a drawer. If anything changed, I would have proof. Days passed. Nothing happened. Life had returned to normal. I continued working from home and nearly forgot about the photographs entirely. Then my mother called. "Did you ask Grandma about the old tree?" she said. The question caught me off guard. "What tree?" Silence followed. "The tree in the photographs." I sat upright. I'd never mentioned a tree, only the boy. "How did you know there was a tree?" Another pause. "Because that's where the stories always start." My mother wasn't the type to tell ghost stories. She was practical, skeptical, yet her voice sounded unusually serious. She explained that when she was young, family members followed an odd rule during reunions. Children were never allowed to play near a specific oak tree that once stood on my great-grandparents' property. Nobody explained why. The rule simply existed. Eventually, the tree was struck by lightning and removed. The restriction disappeared, but nobody ever discussed the reason behind it. "Did anyone say what happened there?" I asked. My mother hesitated. "Only that somebody used to stand beneath it." The call ended shortly afterward. That night, I opened the scanned photographs on my computer. The boy remained exactly where I remembered him. Relief washed over me. I had been imagining things. Then I noticed something else. In the reflection photograph, there appeared to be a second figure standing beside him. The figure hadn't been visible before, at least I didn't think it had. I enlarged the image repeatedly. The quality deteriorated quickly. Eventually, the shapes became impossible to identify, yet the feeling remained. Somebody else was standing there, watching. I stopped researching for almost a month after that. Then a package arrived from my grandmother. Inside sat a small leather journal. No note accompanied it, no explanation. The journal belonged to my great-grandfather. Most entries described ordinary farm life. Weather, harvests, expenses. Then, halfway through the book, the tone changed. Entire pages were dedicated to a person referred to only as the extra branch. At first, I assumed the phrase described a relative, but the entries became increasingly strange. One passage read, "He was present again during supper. Nobody invited him. Nobody acknowledged him. The children saw him first." Another entry stated, "The photographs continue to worsen the situation. We should stop taking them." I spent 3 consecutive nights reading the journal. Every entry deepened the mystery. According to my great-grandfather, family gatherings occasionally included an unidentified boy who appeared without explanation. He never spoke, never interacted. He simply existed at the edge of events. Most adults ignored him. Children noticed immediately. Whenever somebody asked who he was, older relatives redirected the conversation. The pattern continued for decades. Then I discovered an entry dated 1952. The handwriting appeared shakier than usual. Margaret counted everyone during dinner and arrived at 11. There were only 10 chairs. I read that sentence at least 20 times. 11 people, 10 chairs. Somebody was present who shouldn't have been. The following page contained only one line. He sat beneath the tree afterward. I couldn't stop thinking about it. More importantly, I couldn't stop noticing similarities. Every description matched the photographs. The boy always remained near the edge of events, watching, waiting, never participating. I decided to visit the old property. The farm no longer belonged to our family. Most buildings had been demolished years earlier, and yet the land remained accessible. A young couple owned it now. They were friendly enough and allowed me to walk around. The moment I arrived, I noticed something unusual. Several photographs hung inside their home. Family pictures, holiday gatherings, birthdays, vacations. In nearly every image, somebody stood partially hidden in the background. Not clearly enough to identify, just visible enough to notice. My pulse quickened. "Who's that?" I asked casually while pointing toward one photograph. The couple exchanged confused looks. "Who?" the husband replied. I pointed again. The figure seemed obvious to me, yet neither of them could see it. Eventually, I changed the subject. After leaving the house, I walked toward the location where the old oak tree once stood. Only a large, circular patch of grass remained. Nothing else. The area felt ordinary, completely normal. Yet as I stood there, I experienced a strange sensation. The feeling that somebody expected me to remember something. Not learn something, remember it. As though I had forgotten a conversation that happened long ago. I left before sunset. That night I dreamed about the tree. In the dream, dozens of family members stood together for a photograph. Everyone smiled. Everyone faced forward. Then the photographer asked somebody to step closer. I couldn't see who he was addressing, yet every person turned toward the same spot beyond the camera, waiting. The dream ended before anyone moved. Over the following months, the mystery consumed me. I digitized family records, compared census documents, cross-referenced names. The results made no sense. Certain photographs contained more people than official records listed. Tiny discrepancies appeared everywhere. Family stories referenced cousins who didn't exist. Birthdays included unnamed guests. Letters mentioned him without explanation. It was as though generations of relatives had spent decades avoiding the same subject without ever discussing why. Then came the discovery that truly frightened me. While comparing scanned images, I found a photograph taken during a family reunion in 1987. I had attended that reunion as a child. I remembered it clearly. Yet near the edge of the image stood the same boy. Exact same face from photographs taken 40 years earlier. Same age, same expression, same clothes. He hadn't grown older. My hands shook while holding the picture. Rational explanations vanished instantly. I knew memory could be unreliable. Photographs could be misinterpreted. But not this. I remembered that reunion. I remembered standing exactly where the image showed me. Yet I had no memory of the boy. The next morning I drove to my grandmother's house again. This time she didn't avoid my questions. She looked tired, resigned, as though she had always known this conversation would eventually happen. "Who is he?" I asked. She stared out the window for a long time before answering. "Nobody knows." "That's impossible." "I agree." She folded her hands carefully. "But nobody knows." Then she told me the story. According to family tradition, the boy first appeared sometime during the late 1800s. Nobody knew where he came from. Nobody knew whether he was related to the family. Yet he continued appearing in photographs, gatherings, and stories. Not constantly, just often enough that each generation eventually noticed him. The rule became simple. Never ask about him directly. Never acknowledge him during gatherings. Never count the people present. Most importantly, never add him to the family tree. Why? I asked. My grandmother's answer chilled me. Because every time someone did, something changed. She couldn't explain what changed. Only that records shifted, photographs altered, memories blurred. The family tree itself seemed unstable whenever his existence was formally documented. I wanted to dismiss the story as folklore. Family myths often evolve over time. Yet the evidence sitting in my apartment suggested otherwise. Then my grandmother said something that kept me awake for weeks. You found him because he wanted you to. After that conversation, strange things began happening more frequently. Family photographs appeared slightly different each time I viewed them. Reflections contained extra figures. Backgrounds seemed altered. Most changes remained subtle enough to question. Then one evening I opened my genealogy software and discovered an unfamiliar name connected directly to my branch of the family. The record hadn't existed before. No source accompanied it, no documentation, just a single entry, relationship unknown. I deleted it immediately. The next day it returned. Over the following year, I continued researching despite every instinct telling me to stop. The deeper I looked, the stranger things became. Eventually, I noticed a pattern hidden within generations of records. Every 30 to 40 years, one family member became obsessed with documenting the mystery. Every one of those individuals left incomplete notes behind. Everyone eventually stopped writing without explanation. The final note from the most recent researcher contained a sentence I still think about. The tree isn't showing ancestry, it's keeping count. I never discovered what that meant. Maybe I didn't want to. Because by then I had started noticing something far more disturbing. The boy no longer appeared only in old photographs. Sometimes I caught glimpses of him in recent images stored on my phone. Reflections in windows, figures at the edge of crowds, never obvious, never centered, always watching from the margins. Last winter, I took a family photograph during a holiday gathering. 23 relatives attended. I counted twice. Later that evening, I reviewed the image. 24 people appeared in the picture. Nobody recognized the extra face. Nobody else even noticed it until I pointed it out. Then something strange happened. One by one, my relatives stopped being able to see him. The face remained visible to me. Yet others claimed the photograph looked completely normal. I keep that image stored on an old hard drive now. I rarely open it. Not because I'm afraid of what I'll find. Because every time I look, I become less certain that the extra face belongs to the boy from the photographs. The features seem older now, more familiar. Sometimes I think the face resembles a distant relative. Sometimes I think it resembles me. And on the worst nights, when the house is quiet and the lights are off, I find myself wondering whether the disturbing secret hidden in my family tree was never a missing ancestor at all. Maybe the secret was that the tree has been growing an extra branch for generations, a branch nobody remembers planting, a branch that keeps appearing in photographs, records, and memories, until eventually it becomes impossible to tell whether it was ever separate from the family in the first place. Even now, whenever I attend reunions, I avoid counting the people present. I avoid looking too closely at group photographs. And every once in a while, usually when someone raises a camera and asks everyone to smile, I catch myself glancing toward the edge of the gathering, because there's almost always someone standing there, waiting patiently, looking not at the camera but at the person taking the picture, as though expecting to be included this time.